So you're new to WordPress and you want to get more search traffic through SEO. Well, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. The bad news is that WordPress alone isn't going to help you rank in Google. It's just a tool. But the good news is that WordPress makes it dead simple to implement search engine optimization best practices. So even if you're a complete beginner, you can optimize your website for higher Google rankings easily. And you're about to find out how to do it in this WordPress SEO tutorial. Stay tuned. What's up guys, Samo here with Ahrefs, the SEO tool that helps you grow your search traffic, research your competitors, and dominate your niche. Now first, I want to clear up any confusion. WordPress is a content management system that's basically the industry standard for bloggers, but it's developed quite a bit over time where you can now create all sorts of websites from e-commerce to forums to essentially whatever you want. Now, WordPress SEO is no different than just regular search engine optimization. So what I'm referring to is using WordPress as a tool to make traditional SEO techniques and strategies easier to implement and technically sound. So for the most part, we'll be covering the on-page optimization best practices, while other off-page strategies like link building will all be the same whether you use WordPress or anything else. So let's get to it. Before we get into the WordPress interface, I just want to make a quick note on theme selection. Now there are a ton of free and premium templates you can get. So here are two things that you should look for. First, the theme should be mobile responsive. And this is important because, as Google said, mobile-friendly content may perform better for those who are searching on mobile. And second, you should avoid themes that are bloated with plugins or third-party scripts that you really don't need. So read through the theme descriptions to see what's included, and you could also run the theme demo URL through PageSpeed tools like Google's PageSpeed Insights, Pingdom, or GTmetrix. All right, let's move on to some important WordPress settings. First, we need to decide whether we want to use just domain.com or www.domain.com. And the reason for this is because Google will look at these two pages separately. Now, the good thing about WordPress is that it'll automatically redirect the other version to the one that you choose. So if you have a new website, then it doesn't really matter which one you select. But if you've ever used both protocols, or you have an issue like this website where you can access the same page from different URLs, then you'll want to see which version has more backlinks pointing at it. You can check this by using Ahrefs Site Explorer tool. Just enter your domain, then you'll want to take note of the number of referring domains pointing at your website. Then take the other version of the URL and do the same thing. And in this case, there's a clear winner, but for other sites where it's not so obvious, you would want to manually do a full backlink analysis using the backlinks report. You can change your URL by clicking on settings and then edit both your WordPress address URL and site address URL. Now, if you have existing content on your website and you change your URL, there are issues that can arise, so I'd recommend having access to a developer you can contact if need be. Alright, next we want to make sure our permalinks are set up optimally. So click on permalinks under settings in the sidebar. And you can see from the previews that permalinks are basically just the URLs for your posts and pages. The one that I prefer using is post name, and that's for two reasons. Number one, people can look at your URL and know immediately what it's about. So take a look at these links from our blog and guess what they're about. And number two, it keeps the URL short. In our on-page SEO study, we found that short URLs tend to rank better in Google, as you can see from this graph. Now, it's important to note that if you already have content using a different permalink structure, then changing it to a different option may cause broken pages, which is a bad thing, particularly if you have backlinks pointing at them. But if you want to set up your structure this way, then you may need to add redirects, which you can do with a plugin like Redirection. The other plugin that I highly recommend installing is Yoast SEO. Now this plugin is the industry standard and should work great for you out of the box. If your site is new, then you can hover over the SEO menu in the sidebar and go to XML sitemaps. You'll want to make sure that this checkbox is checked and that you generate an XML sitemap which you can submit to search engines like Google and Bing. As a general rule of thumb, you only want to include pages that you want Google to find on your website here. So I've disabled the author sitemap, excluded media pages, as well as tags and format pages. We'll touch on some of the other advanced settings in the second video from a technical SEO standpoint, which you won't want to miss out on. Alright, on to the meat of the tutorial, and that's the on-page optimization tips you should use for every single piece of content you create. You can create a new piece of content as a post or a page, and by default, posts are used for your blog, and pages on the other hand are more commonly used for static pages that don't really change often, like your About Us page, contact page, or services pages. So let's create a post. In terms of SEO, there are four main parts here: the title, URL, body of the content, and your meta tags, and we'll tackle these in this order. This part here is where you set a title for your post. In general, the title that you enter here will act as your H1 tag from an on-page SEO standpoint. Now, the main goal of the title is to entice visitors to click through to your article while accurately describing what the content on the page is about. So you want to create something that's click-worthy and not clickbait. The second basic tip is to include your primary keyword phrase in your title. For example, if we were writing a post on the best Nike running shoes, then our title might be 17 Best Nike Running Shoes for Optimal Performance and Comfort, 2018 Guide. By default, WordPress will change your URL slug to the full name of the post, but we can edit it and change it to our primary keyword target where dashes would replace the spaces. So I'll change it to best-nike-running-shoes and click OK. Next is the body. Since we're talking specifically about WordPress SEO, I want to focus on the editor rather than on-page ranking factors, and we have a good video on that, so I'll link it up in the card and description. Now, your editor will likely look different from mine since themes and plugins can add additional features. The first dropdown is very important because it includes text formatting styles, so you can include H2s, H3s, and other subheadings into your post with the click of a mouse. So in this case, our H1 is the title that we already set up here, and an H2 would be a subheading like Zoom Running Shoes, which is a brand line. And if we wanted to include specific models within the Zoom line, then we can create an H3 like Nike Zoom Fly and elaborate on the model. Using headings helps create a structure which can help Google better understand your content and also improves readability for your users. The other two SEO relevant features are hyperlinks and images. To create a hyperlink, select the text you want to create a link from, then click on the link icon and enter in the URL you want to link to. The selected text will then act as what we call anchor text. You can click on the gear icon to get more options. I highly recommend selecting the open link in a new tab checkbox, which will do exactly what it says when a visitor clicks the link. This is good for keeping visitors on your site while still being able to direct them to helpful resources. And the final feature in here is the Add Media button. This is used to insert images into your post. You can just drag and drop your photos in here, and WordPress will upload it to your server. After it's done uploading, I highly recommend filling in the alt text, and this is good to add for a few reasons. First, it adds more context to the page, telling Google what the image is about, and it may be helpful for ranking your images in Google Images. Second, it's helpful for people who are using screen readers like the visually impaired. And third, if your image breaks, then the alternative text will show to replace the broken image. Alright, let's move on to the Yoast SEO settings. Since we installed the plugin, you'll have a few fields that you can enter in at the bottom of the post or page. The first part is the title tag. This is the part that would show up in Google search results as well as in the browser tab. So rather than leaving it as the default, I recommend pasting your title in here. You'll notice that it's highlighted in red, which tells us that our title tag is too long. This will result in truncation in the Google search results, which isn't that appealing, so we can actually alter this without changing the title of the actual article or your H1 tag. So let's remove the word optimal, click out of the text box, and it looks like we're good to go. Now we'll want to write a meta description, and this part is meant to support your title and further entice someone to click through. Generally, I don't bother with a focus keyword as it doesn't do anything aside from giving you some SEO scores from Yoast. So feel free to add it if you'd like, but know that it doesn't make a difference for your actual search engine optimization efforts. After you've finished your post, you can publish it and have an SEO-friendly post done without touching a line of code. Now, creating a page would be the exact same, but there's one main feature difference worth noting. Assuming that you have your permalink structure as the post name, both page and post URLs will show up like this. But with pages, you can actually create them with different levels using subfolders. So let's say that you're a digital marketing agency using WordPress and you have 5 different services. You do SEO, paid advertising, social media marketing, public relations, and email marketing. Then what you can do is create a services landing page where you would talk about the different services you provide, and naturally you'd probably add links to your individual services pages. Now, rather than having each service page as domain.com/service name, you can nest them under the services subfolder. So let's do that right now. You can see that I'm creating a page on SEO services, so I'll just click on the parent dropdown and choose the services page. Finally, I'll save our page as a draft. And now you can see that the URL is accessible as domain.com/services/SEO. WordPress is my favorite CMS to use simply because it makes on-page SEO a cinch, but there's a lot more you can do with it from a technical SEO standpoint. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the next video. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you have any questions about using WordPress for SEO, then leave a comment and I'd be happy to jump in. So keep grinding away and let's get to the second tutorial. WordPress is much more than just another blogging platform. In fact, popular websites like TechCrunch and BBC America use WordPress to attract and host millions of search visitors every single month. But using WordPress out of the box won't cut it if you want to reach that kind of scale. You need to make sure that your site speed is lightning fast and that your technical SEO is structurally sound. And in this video, you're about to learn exactly how to do that from the ground up. Stay tuned. What's up SEOs? Samo here with Ahrefs, the SEO tool that helps you grow your search traffic, research your competitors, and dominate your niche. Now this is the second part in our WordPress SEO series, and we've already covered a lot of the basic setup and how to create SEO-friendly posts and pages. In this tutorial, we're going to cover a lot of the technical SEO aspects, particularly with page speed, duplicate content, and internal linking, all within WordPress. Let's get to it. Before we begin, I'm going to run a full site audit on my website using Ahrefs Site Audit tool, and I'll occasionally make reference back to some of the reports which will help us identify which pages to fix. The first thing we're going to do is configure our WordPress site for optimal speed and performance. And this is important because Google has officially stated that page speed is a ranking factor in their algorithm for both desktop and mobile. So for site speed, we're setting up the framework, which would include things like caching, compression, CDNs, and minification. And there are 3 plugins that I use specifically to boost my site speed. The first one is W3 Total Cache. With WordPress caching, you're essentially creating static versions of your posts and pages so it can be rendered quickly by browsers. And since you're probably not updating these every day, it should result in faster load times and a better user experience. After you've installed the plugin, you'll see a new menu in the left sidebar called Performance. If you go to the general settings, you'll see the main settings I have enabled are Page Cache, Minify, Browser Cache, and CDN. And you can see short descriptions of what each one does under the checkbox. To customize each of these options, you can go to the corresponding submenu in the sidebar. Now it's important to note that what works for my site speed won't necessarily work for yours. And there are way too many variables to consider, like your server setup, i.e. Apache versus Nginx versus Ngintron, your hosting plan, i.e. shared versus VPS versus dedicated, and more. So rather than going through every single setting for the site, I'll leave a link to the screenshots of my W3 Total Cache settings in the description. The second plugin I use is called ShortPixel, and this one automatically compresses and optimizes images when you upload them to your server. So if you look at my media library, you'll see that there were some images uploaded, and ShortPixel automatically compressed these by quite a lot without compromising image quality. And the final plugin I use is called Speed Booster Pack. After you've installed it, you can access it by hovering over Settings, then choosing the plugin name in the submenu. The one that I want to touch on here is Lazy Load Images. Now by enabling this option, it only loads images as it's needed. For example, when you load this page, images that are further down in the page will only load as you scroll to its location. Play around with these settings, and as you update them, you should see your homepage load stats beside it. You can also use a tool like Pingdom's Full Page Test, which will show you the page load times and performance optimization tips. Just make sure to ping your page from the same location to get more accurate representations of page speed. Site Audit tool also tracks page speed over time. So let's go to our report in Site Audit in Ahrefs and see if there are any pages that load particularly slow. So I'll head on over to the performance report. And here you can see that there are 5 pages that have a loading time of greater than 2 seconds. So I'll click on that, which will show us the results in Data Explorer. The first result is one that gets organic traffic, and it looks like the time to first byte as well as the file size seem higher than I'd like. So I'll copy the URL and paste it into Google PageSpeed Insights. And the results seem pretty good for the most part. Now scrolling down, you'll see some suggestion to optimize images. If your pages have issues with images, CSS, or JavaScript, then you should see a link at the bottom of the page to download optimized versions for this page. So I would just download the optimized versions of these images and replace them in the post. Now doing this for all of your pages may take some time, so start with pages that get organic traffic and move down the list from there if you're really obsessed with speed. Alright, so our site is nice and speedy, which is great for Google and for the user experience. Next is to add internal links to pass link equity to pages you want to rank. Using this custom filter in Data Explorer, I'm able to identify URLs that aren't a part of the page archive, have less than 3 internal links pointing at them, and return a 200 response code. And it looks like there are 131 URLs on this website. Looking through the list, the vast majority are ones that I plan to delete, but I'm sure there are others that we plan to keep and rank higher. Now let's order the pages by organic traffic in descending order. And this one on borax versus boric acid seems like a good one. So I'll go to the all posts page and use the search box here and search for the keyword borax to see if there are any posts I can link from to my borax versus boric acid post. And it looks like this one on cleaning with essential oils includes that keyword in the post. Alternatively, you can do this in Google by searching for site:yourdomain.com and then adding your keyword or multiple keywords by using the OR search operator. And you'll see that we now have 15 pages that match our search query since Google is searching through all index pages, which includes both posts and pages. Another very cool yet effective way to use internal links in WordPress is to add a popular articles widget. Now these might be pages that you've found to convert particularly well, or pages that you want to rank higher in Google. Looking at Backlinko's blog, you'll see that he's done that here with some of his bigger guides. You can also take this tactic a step farther and install a plugin called Custom Sidebars. This lets you insert a custom sidebar configuration on any post or page. For example, you may want to include a custom sidebar with links to other articles or product pages that are relevant to the content in the post. Now, these kinds of tips aren't something that you have to do. In fact, Ahrefs blog and a lot of other popular blogs don't do this. But from my experience, I found it to work well. The last thing I want to go through deals with duplicate content issues. Now, in the first video, I briefly touched on installing the Yoast SEO plugin and setting up your sitemap, and everything else works pretty good out of the box, but there are a few advanced features that deal with indexation, and it'll help you avoid creating unwanted duplicate pages. So first, hover over the Yoast settings and choose titles/metas, and we'll make sure that a few settings are in place. Go to the post type settings and make sure that your meta robot settings for both pages and posts are unchecked, which will ensure that all of your blog posts and pages are set to get indexed by default. Personally, I set the media settings as no index follow because WordPress will often create separate media pages like this that have nothing more than just the image, and this would certainly be classified as thin content. Next, head on over to the taxonomies tab. In most cases, you'll want to no index the tags and formats option. Tags on WordPress have essentially no SEO value. It's more of a way to categorize your posts, which I don't see too many sites doing now. For example, if you look at this tag page, it just lists a couple blog posts that can be accessed on their blog archive page, and there's no real value in telling Google to index the tag page too. The other one is categories. Now this one is debatable. Some people prefer not to index these pages, while others will try to rank them. And in my opinion, if you're using breadcrumbs like this, or use your categories as navigation items like many large publications do, then I would recommend leaving them as indexable in most cases. Or if you think that people will find value in discovering them in Google, then leave them as is. I wouldn't stress too much about this unless you're creating thousands of pages that can potentially lead to issues with crawl budget, faceted navigation, or devaluing the link equity. Next is the Archives tab. Here you'll actually find a section on avoiding duplicate content. Since this site is a single author blog, I've chosen to no index both the author archives and date-based archives. And the reason being, if you leave this to be indexed by Google, your blog homepage or list of posts will be identical to the author archive. Finally is the Other tab. Here I recommend no indexing your archive subpages. And you can see in the example that this would be on an archive page with a URL like /page/2. In fact, Google made a video on the best practices regarding pagination, and they recommended a few different options. The best one, in my opinion, was to create a view all function and for all archive pages to include a canonical tag to the view all page. There were certain conditions that should be met, like the amount of time it takes to render the page, but I'll let you watch that full video if this is a concern that you have. The last thing you should know regarding WordPress indexation is that you can no index specific pages or posts. Just scroll down to the Yoast SEO settings on the page that you want to no index, click on the gear icon, and then select no index from the dropdown. This may be advisable for pages that you don't want to be in Google's index, like a landing page that you're split testing, or a page within your email or sales funnel. If you want to dig deeper into duplicate content issues, then go to the Content Quality Report with an Ahrefs site audit tool, and for this website, you'll see that there are only green clusters of duplicate pages, which means that the canonical is matching. Something that you'll want to be on the lookout for are bad duplicates or where a canonical is not set, as you can see for this WordPress website. Now there's a lot more to technical SEO than what I've shown you here, but by combining WordPress with some of these plugins and techniques, you should be able to speed up your website and prevent a lot of easily avoidable duplicate content issues. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know if there's anything that I missed in the comments specific to doing search engine optimization with WordPress. So keep grinding away, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.
Do you want to rank #1 on Google? Well, I hate to say it, it's actually really hard. 10 years ago, it used to be really easy, but now it's hard. And you know what? Unless you watch this whole video, you're not going to be able to rank #1 on Google. Hey everyone, I'm Neil Patel, and today I'm going to share with you 3 ways you can rank #1 on Google today. I got started in SEO when I was 16 years old. I created a website called Advice Monkey. It no longer exists. If you search for it, you're not going to see my website. It was a replication, and a shitty replication, of Monster.com. And when I created the website, I thought, oh cool, this is it. People are going to come to my site and I'm going to get traffic. But you know what? I popped up the website and no one came to it. From that point, I realized there was something called SEO that I had to do. I paid a few marketing firms to help me with search engine optimization so that way I could rank #1 on Google for terms like job search. But you know what? I gave them money and I got no results. Eventually, as a 16-year-old kid, I lost all my money. You only can make so much money cleaning restrooms and picking up trash. So I had to learn it. But when I first started, it was as simple as putting the keywords on your website and you could rank. I wish it was that easy these days. #1, focus on content. See, Google has this update called Hummingbird. And with Hummingbird, what they decided to do is websites who just have content on everything won't do as well as websites who focus on one single niche and are super thorough. For example, let's say you have a website around dating. If you have a website around dating and your article is, let's say, talking about 5 ways you can land a date, or 5 ways you can land your dream date. If you end up breaking down, hey, go to Match.com, sign up, and you'll find a match after you create a profile, you're not going to do that well. But if you write an article that breaks down how to create a profile on Match.com, the ideal picture, the ideal description, how to be funny, how to even maybe add video, I don't know, I haven't been on these dating sites in ages, but if you go really in depth and you break down every little thing that they should do, and then after you break down Match.com, you then talk about Tinder, you then talk about Bumble, you then talk about eHarmony, all the other platforms, you then even discuss how you should respond to people and engage with them. Should you be hitting people up? What's the first thing you should say to them? How should you respond? Where should you go for your first date, right? How to carry from your first date and ask them on a second date. But if you're super thorough and your content is so amazing that people are like, wow, I read this article, I don't have any more questions, and I know what to do next. That's how thorough you need to be. So poke holes in your content, and as many holes as you can, and fill them all up, so then that way, people are like, this is the end-all site that you should end up reading if you're interested in dating online. Actually, what's funny, I wish dating was this easy when I was younger. I couldn't just swipe an app like Tinder and find the next match. I was sitting next to my buddy Terry the other day, and he kept swiping on Tinder, and he's like, check this out, swipe, instant match, swipe, instant match. 30+ matches within a few minutes. But back in my days, you would have to go to a bar and meet people and actually talk to them. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's go into the second tip if you want to rank #1 on Google. The second tip I have for you is optimize your title tag and your meta description. Have you ever done a Google search and noticed that every time you do it, there's this link at the top and then there's this one sentence? Well, the link at the top is called a title tag and the description below is called a meta description. Now think of it this way. If you search for the phrase online dating and you don't see the word online dating in either the title or the description, are you going to click on the result? Well, if you are, there's something wrong. Because why would you click on a result that isn't related to what you're looking for? In addition to that, have you ever done a search for a term like online dating and have you ever noticed that the word isn't in the title or description? That's because Google tracks who's clicking on what listing. And they've learned that when a keyword is in the listing, the same keyword that you're searching for, they know you're way more likely to click through. So in your title tag and your meta description, make sure you include the keyword. But you can't just include the keyword like online dating, right? The easiest way, what I would do, and I wish it was this simple, I would just put online dating, online dating, online dating, online dating. If I could put it 20 times so people would know that the article's on online dating, I wish I would get more clicks. But it's not that simple. Yes, you have to include the keyword in your title and your description, but it has to be appealing. If it doesn't flow in a sentence, it's not easy to read, and it's not appealing or evoking curiosity, no one is going to click through. The third thing I have for you is to use Google Search Console. Did you know that Google gives you a tool that teaches you how to rank #1 on Google? Yes, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is true, and it's called Google Search Console. If you're not already a user of it, sign up. It doesn't cost $1. You're missing out if you're not using it. I can't emphasize that enough. So now that you're using Google Search Console, give it a few days because it takes some time to populate data. You'll see a screen that shows search analytics, and this shows you all the pages on your website that are getting you traffic. But the cool thing about Google Search Console is they also show you which articles are getting impressions. And here's what I mean by impressions. You know, when you do a search on Google, you don't always click through on a result, right? If you did, then you would be clicking through on 10 results every time you did a search. That would be insane. What Google shows is how many people are seeing your listing and clicking through, and how many people don't click through. So they show you how many impressions you're getting, the clicks, and the click-through rate. And what you'll find is, in general, you're lucky if you're getting around a 5% click-through rate, sometimes 10, 15, but in most cases, most of your pages are going to be getting less than 5% click-through rate. Now, the cool part about Google Search Console is they show you all the keywords that you're getting impressions for and all the ones you're getting clicks for. Now, remember the first tip was about content thoroughness, and you want an article that talks about everything under the sun? Well, you can use Google Search Console to tie in back to the first tip. So kind of #1 and 3 are related, in which you want to take all the keywords you're getting impressions for and start adding them to your copy. Now, don't just shove them in and have your content be keyword rich where, you know, someone reads it and all it is online dating, Tinder, eHarmony, dating online, meeting someone from online dating, right? If someone was reading your article and it sounded just like that, they're gonna bounce off your site because that means your content sucks and it just has too many keywords. It has to flow naturally and be educational. So you wanna take those keywords that you're seeing in Google Search Console and add them to the article. Now, we have an article on Instagram, and it teaches you how to get over 300 targeted Instagram followers per day. That article is around 10,000 words. When I first wrote that article, it wasn't 10,000 words, it was roughly 2,500. I went to Google Search Console, I saw all the people that are searching for terms related to that article, I added them within that article, I made it more thorough, and you know what? My traffic more than tripled to that article. Yes, it is that simple. And when I made that change, it didn't happen right away, but I noticed the results within 50 days. That's not a long time. So now let's recap on the tips. 1, make your content super thorough. 2, make sure you include the keywords within your title tag and meta description, but also when you're doing your title and description, make sure you're evoking curiosity and you're creating an amazing title that everyone wants to read and click through. And number 3, use the free tool that Google gives you that'll help you rank #1. That's Google Search Console. Use those 3 things and you can rank #1, not just in the future, but also right now. Now that you've learned these 3 tips, I challenge you, in which I want you to take these tactics and implement them. And then after you implement them, in the next 45 days, I want you to leave a comment with your results. Because if you're not doing well, that means I'm not happy, and I know these tactics work, and that's why I'm challenging you. Because if you implement them, you're gonna see results, and you're gonna be ecstatic, and your life is going to change. And I wanna build a community of like-minded people where we all take action and we help each other grow. So I challenge you to take action and implement these 3 steps. Now granted, I know you may be busy and you may not be able to do all of them right away, but just pick one. It doesn't have to be time consuming. Pick one of them, make the change. Maybe you can start with the second tactic because that's the easiest one. Implement it and you can start seeing results right away. So make sure you subscribe to this video and this channel, and I'll see you in the next video, and we'll keep helping each other grow.
Today, I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful website in just 20 minutes. Hi guys, my name is Hogan and welcome to this tutorial. So I realized that there were quite a lot of 2-hour tutorials showing you how to create a website, but no one actually finishes those. So I decided to make a 20-minute tutorial to show you how you can get the same or even a better result. So by the end of this video, you'll have a fully mobile responsive website, similar to top websites like Apple, Spotify, and Tesla, and you'll be able to easily edit the website. So for example, if you want to change the text, you can. And if you want to move the text to different areas of the website, you just click and you drag. And let's zoom out of the website a little bit. Okay, you can also adjust the columns just by dragging like that. And you can also move the modules around. And you can undo. So you can also add video modules. And if you hover over this green icon here, you can add all sorts of modules. For example, gallery modules, SoundCloud, or even add a blog or a shop. So this video is perfect for beginners, or even if you want to create websites for clients. And this is actually the same video that a lot of people actually follow to start their own web design agency on places like Fiverr. So if you want to create a website, then make sure to watch this video to the very end. So what I want you to do is click on the link below this video. So this is the page that's going to take you to, and we're going to be completing the website in just 7 steps. So the first step is choosing a name for your website. So for example, my one would be create a website 23.com, and then you'd click on check availability. So if it's available, then you can scroll down and proceed to get your domain and hosting. So the hosting is where all your website files, such as the images and the text, are stored. So it's sort of like a housing platform for your content. And this allows everyone to view your website all around the world 24/7. So click on Get Domain and Hosting, and it's going to direct you to HostGator. So HostGator is what I use, but you can use other web hosts as well. So we're going to click on Web Hosting up here, and you've got 3 different plans to choose from. As a beginner, I recommend choosing the Hatchling plan because it's the cheapest one to start off with, and you also get a free SSL certificate. SSL basically means you get the HTTPS and you have the secure icon. And then click on Buy Now. So here you would enter in the domain name that you put in before. So create a website 23, and then you'll click on the outside. So that should show that it's available. So you want to scroll down. For domain privacy, this is optional. I'm going to deselect it for this video. We're going to scroll down. For the package type, you can select Hatchling here. So for the billing cycle, click here, and you can select month to month, or you can select a longer term, which gives you a much bigger discount. So for this video, I'm going to choose month to month, but if you know that you're going to have a website for long term, then choose a longer term. For a username, and I'm going to enter a security pin, and then scroll down. So I'm going to fill in my billing information and my credit card details. Scroll down. So as you can see, you get the free SSL. For these ones, you want to uncheck these because you can do these for free later with plugins. Scroll down, and for the coupon code, enter learn to create, and then click on validate. So this is going to give you a bigger discount and also a discount on the domain registration. So if you use this code, I will get a small commission, which helps me create these free videos. So you want to tick your red and agreed, and then you want to scroll down and then click on checkout now. Okay, so once you've actually paid for that, then it'll say order completed, and you'll also get an email which looks something like this, your account information. Now the next step is to click on the control panel link, and this is where we're going to install WordPress. So grab your username here and also your password, and then click on login. And then what you want to do is click on build a new WordPress website, and then select your domain. Leave the directory part empty, and then click on next. So for your blog title, I'm just going to enter in logo, and I'm going to put in my username, first name, last name, and also my email address. and then agree to the terms of service, and then click on install now. So once that is installed, you should get a notification installation is completed. What I like to do is I like to copy the password to my clipboard first, and then what you want to do is click on login. So this is your WordPress dashboard login. So here you'll need to enter in your username, and your details will also be sent to your email as well. Paste in the password and then click on login. So to reach this page again, you'll need to go to yourwebsite.com/wp-admin. What I recommend is bookmarking the page. So what we're going to do now is do a little housekeeping first. So we're going to dismiss all these messages. The first thing you want to do is hover over users, and then you can click on all users, and then you want to click on edit, and then you want to scroll down and click on generate password, and generate a password that you remember. Confirm that, update profile. The next thing you want to do is you want to hover over settings and then click on permalinks. So what we're doing here is selecting post name. You want the title of your page and your post to reflect in your URL, okay? And then scroll down. This is for search engine purposes. The next thing you want to do is click on plugins. Okay, scroll down. So plugins are sort of applications to add additional functionality to your website, and it comes pre-installed with quite a few. What we're going to do is select all up here, and then we're going to deactivate it for now and click on apply. So there's just too many things popping up and about, so I just want to deactivate them all. Okay, now what we can do is hover over the house icon here, and we're going to visit our website. So right click and open in a new tab. So this is what our website looks like right now. Doesn't look like much. Now what you want to do is we want to actually install a theme. So go back to my website and scroll down to step number 4, and we're going to download a theme. So click to download onto your computer and save it into your desktop. Okay. The next thing you want to do is you want to go back to your website, and then you want to hover over appearance, click on themes. So this is a default theme. We're going to add new, and we're going to click on upload theme. Choose file, and you want to make sure you upload themify-ultra.zip. Okay, sometimes you might have this Safari might automatically unzip it into a folder. You'll need to right click and compress it back into the zip file. Click on open, install now. Click on activate. For the skins and demos, you want to click on the square or the cross icon to close that. Now if we go and refresh our website, this is what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to basically set in the structure of the website. So the first thing you want to do is go back to your dashboard area, and we're going to add in some pages. So you can click on pages here, and this is the sample pages. We're going to select all and just move those to the trash first. Next step is to add new. So here we're going to add in our pages, for example, our home page. So type in home, click on publish. Okay, make sure that it says page published before you click on add new. Next page, we're going to add in about page. Add new. We're going to add a services page. Publish. Click on add new. And we're going to add a contact page. So you can add as many pages as you want later. Once that is done, we can go to our website. Okay, so if you actually click on the home page by selecting there, then you'll see that it says /home. What we want to do is we want to make sure this home page is just set as our domain URL only. So click on customize, and then click on the back icon. Click on home page settings and select a static page. For the home page, we want to select home, and then you want to click on publish. Now what we can do is set in our menus. So click on the back icon again, and then click on menus. And then as you can see, you can't really see the menu, so you can actually zoom out of your browser. So I'm going to zoom out one time, okay, so you can see our menu here. And then click on create a new menu. We're going to name this menu Top Nav for top navigation, and we're going to select main navigation here, so it appears on the top. If you select footer, it's going to appear on the bottom. Click on next, and then click on add items. So we're going to add in our about page, our services page, and our contact page. Okay, so if you want to create a drop down menu, you can sort of click it and select it and sort of pull it in. It's called indenting. And what happens there is when you hover over about, services will pop out. Okay, so we're going to put that back and then click on publish. And then we can close that. Now the next step is setting the basic layout of the page. So what we need to do is we can go back to our dashboard area and we can go to Themify Ultra, Themify settings. So this is where you edit the structure of your website. The first thing that you want to do is we can go to the theme settings, scroll down. Now for the header design, I'm going to select the header top bar design. So then you want to go back up here and click on save. Now you can go to your website and click on refresh, and you can see the changes being made. Alright, so I want to remove this tagline, this RSS icon, and this search bar. So we can go back to our settings here, and we can exclude the tagline, search form, and RSS. And then what we also want to do is you can also edit the footer design. Okay, you want to scroll down to the very bottom. Okay, if we go back to our website here, you'll see that there is footer 1 and footer 2. So I want to remove powered by WordPress. To do that, go back here and select hide footer text 2. Click on save. Now to view your website, just refresh it and it should look pretty good. Now we want to set in the default page layouts. So this is the page. We can go back here and click on default layouts. Then scroll down to the very bottom to default page layout. We're going to select no sidebar and we're going to hide the title as well as disable comments. Save it. Alright, so for the fun part, we're going to first turn on the builder and I'm going to show you the basics of how to use it. So when you actually hover over it, this is what you call a row, and when you hover on the left, this is where you actually set in columns, as you can see, right? And they can drag specific modules inside. So what we want to do to start off with is to actually create a hero image, because that's the best way to showcase what your website is about in a second to your visitor. So click on the pencil icon options and you want to select the row width to go all the way from one side to the other. So select this one, full width content, and what you can do for this thing here is drag it to the right hand side and place it there. Alright, now the next thing you want to do is click on styling and we want to set in a background image. So click on background. For the background type, for this one, we're going to select just an image and we're going to click on browse library instead of upload. Because if you click on upload, it's going to automatically crop your image and sometimes it's not cropped properly. Click on browse library and we're going to upload an image. So you can click on upload files to upload an image. I'm going to select this one here and I've cropped this image to 1800 times 1000, and then you want to insert file URL. So to get really good free images, you can go to unsplash.com and you can use these images for business or personal, and then you can go to photo to actually crop it. Alright, go back here and as you can see, the image is loaded in. Then for the background mode, we want to set full cover. Alright, and then what you want to do is you want to stretch that image out a little bit. You want to add some spacing so you can see that whole image. So what we need to do is click on padding. Padding is just another word for spacing. Deselect apply to all. So what we want to do is apply 15% to the top and also 15% to the bottom. Because I'm going to add some text in there and it's going to stretch out a little bit more, so I'm just going to set in 15. And then you can click on done. So once you have done that, then you can hover over the green icon and we want to drop in maybe a text. So drop that into the middle. For the content, I'm going to type in welcome. All right. And I want to highlight the text. I want to set this text to heading 1. So normally there's only one heading, one font for a specific page. And then what you want to do is we want to go to styling and then click on font, and we want to change the color here to white. Okay. Now you can also change the size of the heading 1 by clicking on heading 1 here. And then you can set the size to maybe, let's say 80, maybe that's a good size. And then you can go back to general, and we want to make sure the text is in the middle. So right here, if you scroll down to text align, click on center, and that will align your text. And then you can click on done. Now, if you want to add a subheadline, because it's also a text module, you can hover over the module and click on duplicate, and that will create 2 layers basically. Double click on that, and then let's just say maybe create a beautiful website. And for this one, we want to select the text and select it to paragraph. All right. So to change the size of that text, you can go back to styling again, font, and then for the font size, we might try 22. I think that looks okay. And then you can click on done. All right. Now, the next step is to add a button. So to do that, hover over the green icon, look for the button, and drop that in below there. So here you can select the style of the button. Okay, I'm going to select maybe outlined. And for the button text, I'm going to type in start here. Now, the link is actually where you want that button to link to. So when someone clicks on that, what page do they end up on? So I want people to go to my services page. So on the bottom left, you'll see the URL. So what you can do is you can copy the URL from the top here, paste it in, and then type in services. Okay. And then you can also select the button colors and things like that. Add an icon. You can also go to styling and click on button link to select some custom colors for your button colors, right? And then what you can do is click on done. Okay, as you can see, that's on the left. So if we actually go back to the row options and click on that, styling, font, for the text align, we click on center. So what that basically does is everything inside this row will be aligned into the center. Okay, so what we can do to preview the website is click on the preview icon here, and there you go. So as you'll see, there is a gap here and we want to remove that. To do that, we can click on save first and then click on backend. Now you want to scroll down to Themify custom panel, page options, and select full width, and then update. Now we can head back to our page by clicking on view page, and you'll see that gap is gone. Okay, so it's fairly easy to add in a background image and also add in some text. Let's say we turn on the builder again. So what I've actually done is I've actually made a demo layout for you guys. So if you actually go back to my website, scroll down to step 7, and then click on download the demo layout, and then download that onto your desktop. Okay, and then go back to your website here, and then what you can do is you can see this little icon here which has got the down arrow. Click on import from file. Okay, upload, and then what we're going to do is we're going to look for that file, which is this one here, homepage v1.zip. Open, and that's going to import the layout I created for you guys. So as you can see, if we actually zoom out of the page, you see that I've created the entire layout for you guys, and all you really need to do is sort of replace the content. Okay, So for some areas, for example, your Instagram feed, that doesn't show up because you actually need to download a plugin and connect that to your Instagram account. Same with your Google Maps and contact forms. But what I've actually done is, so for example, this Instagram feed here, press play, and I've created a video showing you guys exactly how to set up your Instagram feed. So I wanted this tutorial to be short and like straight to the point, sort of like a budget airline where you've got all the essentials, but if you want to add on different things, then I've got all the videos for you guys to do that, right? So if we actually turn on the builder again, and I'll show you quickly how you can actually edit it really easily. What I'll do is zoom out, and for example, you might not want a testimonial section, then you can click on the delete icon and delete that. Okay, you might not need a SoundCloud thing here, then you can delete it as well. You can also rearrange the layouts and everything. For example, let's zoom in a little bit more. You can also rearrange the layout just like that and move things about. You can double click each section and change the text. So it's really easy to use, and if you have any questions, drop it down below. But right now I'm going to show you how to change the colors of your website and add in your logos and also your social icon on the bottom. So we're going to click on save and we're going to close. So what you want to do is click on customize, and then this will take you to Themify options. I'm going to select the advanced tab with more options. So your Themify options is basically where you change the font and also the color and the styling for your website structure, right? So let me explain a little bit. For example, the header, this is the header section. So anything that you edit in here will control this section here. If you, for example, edit the footer, it's going to control down here. Okay. If you edit the sticky header, this is actually when you actually scroll, the header actually follows you, like it stays there. That is your sticky header. And then your links over here, that is actually called your main navigation. And you can also set in your mobile menu and edit every section of your website. And also the body section is anywhere in between your header and your footer section. Let me show you an example by clicking on header. The header wrap is basically the background of your header section. Okay, so what I do recommend if you change your header background is stick to a neutral color, because let's say if you actually change that to a random color like a blue, then you're gonna see that it's not gonna match really well with your website and the images. Okay, so when you actually have a neutral color, for example, a white color for your header, it's gonna look a lot nicer. It's sort of like wearing a white t-shirt. It pairs really well with any pants or any shoes that you're wearing. If you actually want to edit the links here, you go to main navigation and you would select menu link. Okay, so that's the link here. And for example, you can change the color here. Let's change it to a dark gray. So this is a code. And when you actually hover over that, that is actually the menu link hover. Okay, the hover link color. So what I'll do is I actually grab the URL here, the hex code, copy that to my clipboard. I go to a website called 0 to 255, click on enter color, paste it in, and enter that color. So what I like to do is I choose 2 shades darker or 2 shades lighter as my hover color. Okay, and I use that same formula consistently throughout the entire website. So I might try this one here, copy that, and then here, go back to menu link hover, paste that in there, right? So what that does is if you actually hover over the link, it's going to give you a really slight effect. If you can't really see it, you might want to go 3 shades, okay? 3 shades lighter. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now this is basically the same formula that top websites like Apple use. For example, when you hover over the link, it goes a little bit gray. Okay, so it gives that effect of, okay, that's a link, I can click on that. Okay, so we're gonna go back here and you can play around with all the different settings and colors here. So if you wanna change the site logo, click on site logo here, and then you can change the title. Okay, so you can change the title, change the fonts here. You know, there are hundreds of different fonts you can choose from. If you have a logo, you'd select logo image and you'll click on plus to upload it. So I recommend going to fiverr.com to get logos for $5. It's really cheap, and you can also ask for a fav icon, which is the icon up here. Then click on publish. I'm going to show you how to add in your fav icon and social media. So click on X. Now let's go back to our dashboard section. Click on Themify Ultra Themify settings. Here you'll see fav icon, and you would click on upload. And basically I have created a fav icon. It has to be a PNG file, which means it's a transparent file, and the size of it is 32 times 32 pixels. Open, and then you can click on save. To add in your social links, click on social links here, and here you can add in, let's say, your Facebook profile URL. Copy that, and you can paste that in here, okay, and select the icon. So for example, if you don't find Instagram, you can click on add link and add an Instagram there if you want to. Click on save. And then what you do is we want to display it. So go to appearance, click on widgets, and then scroll here down to the very bottom to look for Themify social links. Drag it and pull it up and drop it into footer social widget. Okay, and then click on open link in a new window, and icon size set to medium. Save it. Let's go back to our website by clicking on visit site, and there you go, you've added in your social links and your website is pretty much complete. So thank you guys for following this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, drop it down below. I'll also include the FAQ. So for example, if you have any questions, I will include the most frequently asked questions on my website, so you can check that out. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. See you guys in the next video.